Hi everyone, AngelBless here, and I've had a few requests lately to make drawing tutorials, so here is part 1, drawing the head. So, here's my desktop, love Grey Man, and I'll open Painter 9. You can do this with a pencil, but I just like doing it digitally because it's easier. So, I've got my new page. First I start by drawing the basic circle, and it can be as sketchy as you want. So this first one's going to be the front view. So I draw across and make sure the horizontal line is just below the halfway mark. Then I draw the basic face shape. It's kind of like an upside down trapezium with a triangle on the bottom. And if it looks uneven, you can just alter it afterwards. Then I draw the eyes. Now I do it a little differently depending on which way the face is facing. So I draw the bottom of the eyes to match the horizontal guideline, and the other eyes just as high as I want to draw them. Then you add in the eyes, which is just basically ovals. And if you find they're looking the wrong way, you can there's a little technique you can do. Yeah. Anyway, add in the nose and the mouth. The nose is just a little curve, depending on which way you want to do it. And if your face looks uneven after that, you can just do some editing, reposition the nose and the mouth until you're happy with how it looks. Then for the eyes, if you find they're looking one particular way, draw the lines a bit thicker on the other side of where they're looking, and it'll just look like they're looking in the right direction. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it. But anyway, add in the pupils, and then you can alter any parts of the face. For example, the face looks a bit fat here, so I'm narrowing it down a bit so it looks a bit better. Make any little changes, then add the eyebrows. You can add those little eyelid bits too if you want to. They're really easy to add. They make eyes look a little bit better. Anyway, and add the ears. The top of the ears come to the top of the eyes, and they stop a little bit below the eyes, because animes are quite big, so don't make the ears too big to compensate. Anyway, character I'm going to do is Mana, so I start with the fringe, and it's just a load of really curvy zigzags. Yeah, because she hasn't got one of those neat fringes. Yeah, and then add the antenna, and the top of the hair is just basically two little curves with a bit in the middle to show the parting. The side bits are just basically triangles. I try to be really simplistic. I don't like going over the top with them, really. Yep, so that's the basic head shape. Just delete any little bits you want, like the parts of the head that are covered by the hair, any guidelines that you want to get rid of. Change any bits that need to be changed, like for example the hair and the antenna with me. I didn't really like how it was, so yeah. Right, then the neck is, I draw it about half the width of the overall head. I think that's about right. And the shoulders are just diagonal lines down. I try to focus on the part of the muscle where the collarbone is, because it's easier to draw it if you do it like that. I don't know. I'm going to have to make a proper tutorial to explain this. Anyway, I just add in the dress, colour it in, add the back of the hair, and in more details, and then erase the rest of the guidelines as you want to. Yeah, I draw heads really simply. I don't really pay attention to the guides they give. I just use them because, well, I don't use them most of the time, but I do them on front heads because it's just easier to say whether your character's looking up or down or anything like that. So yeah, there's my finished head. And yeah, I'll probably try colouring this in later for a later tutorial. Anyway, now onto the profile, which is the side of the head. Now, this has got less following. I followed the directions less with the size of the head, and even less for 3/4 views. But anyway, I draw the basic circle again and draw just a horizontal line. And then I draw a curve down the circle, and where the horizontal line is, I draw the nose, and the nose changes depending on what style you're going for. I personally do it so that it's just a simple nose and then the mouth comes out a little further, and I just do one lip at first, like the top lip, and I don't bother with the second one until I've got the face looking right. Anyway, adding the eyes, and with the eyes you have to remember that the bottom of the eye kind of curves down, like how the eyes have an oval shape. You have to try and keep that in mind when doing it, otherwise you'll draw a front eye instead of a side eye. So if you look at the example, so if you look at how I've done the eye, it's kind of the two of them meet. If you carried on drawing them, they'd match up. So anyway, adding the hair and the ear. It doesn't look so much towards the top of the eye with this, but I just prefer doing it that way. And with underneath the ear, you draw the top of the jawbone, and the chin and the jawbone should somewhat match up. If you make them match up too much, you get a really pointy chin, but they've got to match up a little, otherwise it's not connected. With the hair, since her hair is longer on the back, I like drawing it coming forward a little before coming over the shoulder. You know, it's not just flat over. Yeah, make any changes you need to as you go in. These are all quick doodles, by the way. I could probably do better stuff than this if I spent more time, but I didn't fancy getting out sketchbooks just to scanning pictures and making the tutorial, so doodling it is. Anyway, yeah, add in the hair and all that stuff. Delete any guidelines where you need them. With the hair, I like to add a couple of little lines, you know, to show the direction of the hair, just to make it look a little bit better. It also makes it easier for adding shading as well, I find, because you can add shading within that part of the hair and just even looks better. So anyway, there's the finished head, and yeah, delete a few more guidelines. Right, and we're on to part 3 now, which would be the 3/4 view, where I follow none of the rules whatsoever. Right, so this one, I draw the circle, again, just as a base. And then, following the lines of the circle, you draw curved, horizontal and vertical lines. And for this one, you're just going to have to watch, really. But what I do is, I make the chin point everything. I try to follow the lines a little. Like, for example, the eyes kind of meet the lines, but overall there's not really much advice I can give, unless you just want to try drawing like this a bit. So yeah, as you can see, and I forgot to draw eyebrows in the last one, but oh well. Anyway, I suppose there aren't really that many tips for this one. The nose is just a simple triangle, and the mouth, if you try and make the mouth look centered to the nose, it looks a bit weird, I find, so I draw it to one side and it seems to go okay. When it comes to anime, if you draw what looks right, you know, and it's not really that questionable, then you're going to be okay. Anyway, this is an upward view, so what I like to do is draw the neck coming down off the chin, about where the point of the chin is, and then I draw the shoulder so that you can actually see the neck coming down the shoulder around it, because if you don't draw any of that, it just looks a bit weird. Right, so add the collarbones in and delete any guidelines. Maybe a little detail in here if you want to, but overall, the way I draw it is just like really simple, but I actually quite like that picture. I don't think I've really drawn 3/4 views that well lately. And I'm talking too much. Anyway, thank you for checking out this tutorial, and hopefully I'll make another one soon, so see you later.